Wrexham's Phil Parkinson is probably going to be the Championship manager under the most pressure, the most scrutiny, the scale, the expectations of that project over in Wales means, reasonably or unreasonably, a run of bad results means that the long-term viability of Phil Parkinson's position at Wrexham's manager will never be far away from being questioned. Yes, he has lots and lots of credit in the bank for the frankly brilliant back-to-back promotions. However, if you flip the script, I'm sure most EFL managers would swap the pressure and the scrutiny Phil Parkinson has for the support and the resources he's been able to have at his disposal during his brilliant run as Wrexham manager so far. I was asked about this and got into a debate about it on the Sportsman podcast yesterday with Simon Lillibury. We're going to run a clip and we'll link the whole video and the whole conversation, the whole podcast there at the end of this clip. Let me know your thoughts. Is Phil Parkinson going to be the Wrexham manager for the long haul?
One thing we need to touch upon is last week we were talking about Wrexham in detail. You weren't on the show, Ben, but I'm going to get blamed for it. Yeah, right? Absolutely. Basically, Callum and Connor mainly, it definitely wasn't me. We were saying that Phil Parkinson probably might go before Christmas, and the Wrexham fans in the comment, rightly so, were saying, no, the board are going to stick with him, it's going to be fine, 3 promotions in a row can't be ignored. Where do you stand on Park? It was a draw again this weekend. I mean, every other team in the Championship drew this weekend, it appeared, didn't it? But he's not got off and running at home in the Championship so far. A couple of good away wins, though.
I can sit on the fence here. I can see both sides of the argument. I can see why people went into the season saying, right, this is the Championship now. It's not Wrexham having a giant budget in League One and going through, incredible achievement to go back to back. But this is a different level now. And I think people looked a little bit at Phil's football with the 3 at the back, get crosses in the box, and is it going to need something more sophisticated? I don't think that's the case, to be honest, because now I'm looking at a Wrexham side. Cabore's playing brilliant at wing-back, and the wing-backs are so important in a 3-5-2 where you're going to be having a lot of crosses, and so are the central midfielders. And Lewis O'Brien is playing brilliantly, and maybe his job was different, say, under a Carlos Corberan at Huddersfield. I think now his job is, right, break it up, get in the box, score some goals, and Broadhead's back. Kiefer Moore's good at this level. Dom Hyman, you already mentioned, is in there. We felt maybe after the roasting of poor old Connor Cody in the game against QPR that change was going to be made. So you can see it turning. I can see why the Wrexham fans would be defending Phil Parkinson. I can see why outside fans and pundits would think, ooh, what's the standard here? What's the expectation? Where's he going to be if he's not making it? Could that lead to a second? I think it's a fairly safe seat, to use a kind of political analogy. And I think there is a lot of credit in the bank there for Phil Parkinson. So I think he's fairly safe. But if we're Wrexham in the table at the moment, they're up in 15th. They are trending upwards, Simon, as well. It's been a couple. They could have beat Derby as well, couldn't they? But they got They got Eustace at the end of the game, didn't they? Where you think, oh, how have they come away with something? But they're good at that, Derby, and Eustace's sides have been good at that. So, yeah, I go on. Let's be bold. I think he's passing Christmas for sure.
Yeah,
and I think he'll last the season, don't you?
Yeah,
you're not committing on that.
I won't join you with last in the season, but I think he'll get a decent amount of time. It was quite difficult to judge this one because Wrexham have been really poor defensively in terms of conceding chances this season. I think the change of Dom Hyam does improve them in that sense. But they were coming up against a Derby side that has also been kind of toothless in terms of creating chances in the last few weeks. I look at their next 2 fixtures, which are Leicester and Birmingham, and you just think, could that be 2 defeats on the spin and the narrative changes? I don't think he'll get sacked anytime soon, not at all. But I just think there's still some underlying concerns. If they keep conceding as many chances as they have been, they're not going to be that successful this season. It's as simple as that for me, I think.
Yeah, that could tighten up though.
It could. They've got enough options as well, haven't they?
Yeah. That you're right to point out. That's a tricky week, isn't it? And I think they'll both be quite attritional games. With the way we've seen Cifuentes setting Leicester up has not been typical parachute, I've got better players than you, I'm going to attack you. It's been quite European cup football-y type thing. And we already mentioned Birmingham. There could be the own pressure on them. And there's this kind of fun rivalry. Even though Birmingham and Wrexham fans don't like being bucketed together, you can see why we do it. And that's been a good rivalry. And that'll be an interesting game on Friday night.
You can see why Sky Sports have picked that as their main game on Friday night.
Mate, their US audience will be burgeoning for that one as well.
I think Tom Brady might make the trip over for that one as well.